We're going to be looking at how to create a survey form for our user research using Google. So once you come to your browser, your Chrome browser, just go to the top corner, this part where there are 9 dots, and click on it. When it opens, you will be looking for your forms. So we'll go down here and we'll see our Google Forms. So here, the forms, you click on these forms here and wait for it to load. So I have there are several templates you can use. You can decide to use the templates that are here for you, or just create on blank form. So I'm going to be using a blank form. Starting right from the beginning. Here, first thing you will do is to change the title of your form. So let's assume I'm creating a research for, say, a beauty app. A beauty app. Creating a research for a beauty platform. So I'm going to just beauty platform. Once I'm done I'm done with this, I'll save it. And I'll start with my questions. If you notice, you only have one option for your question here. So I'm going to start with
Yeah.
my first question. I'm going to probably ask um what is what is your name? You don't usually ask what is your name in Google questions, but let's just say, for instance, I'm asking what is your name. Now that I've asked this question, what is your name? I'm going to come here. I'm going to come here and decide the kind of answer I want people to give me. So now, in this particular place, is it a short answer? Is it a paragraph? Is it a multiple choice? Is it a checkbox? Now, what's multiple choice? Most times it's advisable to use multiple choice. Like this, everything here is like, what is the kind of information you want your user to give you? So it could either be just date and time, it could just be grid, but most times it's best, I like using multiple choice. So once you click on multiple choice, what multiple choice helps you to do is that the person can click on more than one option at a time. But if you
Okay.
choose, yes, but if you choose check boxes, it's only one tick that the person can check. So it depends on what you are using the form for. If you are using it for, you want the person to give you more than one answer at a time, you use your multiple choice. But if you are just using, you just want the person to give you only one answer, when the person is clicking on the form, there is no way the person can click more than one. So I'm going to be using multiple choice. So you have the option to change, the options here. So for instance, what is your name? And you want to say, most times for something like a question like this will not need multiple choice. So it's based on the question like this will not need multiple choice. So I'll just go to short answer, and then I'm going to my new question. To create a new question box, I'm just going to click on add. So I'm going to add. So now the next question, we're going to be creating a question that will be needing multiple choice. So this particular question, I'm going to be creating, I'll ask question like, will you, okay, what question will need multiple choice? Let me say, for instance, I'm going to be asking, will you, be interested in sharing this form? Who will you be sharing it to? Who will you be sharing to? So now, because it is multiple, I want the person can say, oh, I want to share it to my friend, I want to share it to my family member. So in this case, this person has more than one option to choose from. So in this case, I'm going to be using multiple choice as the type of answer I want the person to give me. So now I'm going to click on multiple choice. So here I can now change my option to family member. Here I'll come here and be like, friend. Then here let's say something like classmates. So with this in mind, we know that the person can decide to choose more than one. That is why we put a multiple choice. Okay. But if it was check boxes, the person can only click on one. So I'm going to use this multiple choice. If you want to delete any of the answers, you can just click on this cancel here and remove it. But that's it for this. Now, instead of, and sometimes you might want to create a kind of form that will lead you from one thing to the other. For instance, let me add a question and ask, have you used a beauty app before? Have you used a beauty app before? Now there are two answers here. Sometimes they will suggest for you, okay, yes, yes or no, okay. Yes, no. So this is what I want this person to choose from. Now, I want to create this form in such a way that if the person clicks on yes, it will lead me to a particular section. And if you click here on no, it will lead you to a different section. So now, how do I do that? What I'm going to do is here, I will now come to this particular place and click on add section. Okay, add section. So now I'm having a different section. So I'll title this section say yes. Like, let me say I'll title the section yes. So what it means is anybody that clicks on yes is going to go to this particular section. At the same time, I'll create another section. I'll come back to this former question and create another section here. Add section 3. This is another section. Okay. So there are 3 sections here. There are 3 sections. This one is for no. The first section is the general section for where you ask your normal questions. Then this one is now for yes and for no. What I'm going to do here is this. I'm going to now come back to my question and I will say go to section based on answer. I'm going to see where I went to. I'm going to, because this is a particular question. This, have you used a beauty app before, is a particular question that will divide into 2 sections. So I'm going to come and click on it and come here to these 3 dots and say go to based on answer, the answer the person, a user, gives to this particular question. So now I'll click on it because I will select it here. What it now does is that I'll come to yes and say continue to yes. You get, I'll come to this drop down here and click on continue to yes. So the section, if somebody clicks on yes, the section is going to lead me to the section, is going to lead me to the yes section. And also come to no and click on this. I'll be like, go to section 2, which is no. So now, what this does is that when the user is answering my question, this particular question, if the user clicks on yes, the user is going to section 3. But if the user clicks on no, person goes to section 2. This is very important because when you are creating your form, you can say something like, okay, if this person clicks on, you can also as well say, if the person clicks on no, submit form. So that means, that is to tell you that I don't want to continue with somebody that is not positive. So I only want to continue with person that said yes to my question. So these things are very important. They are very useful when you are trying to create meaningful data, because you don't want everybody, it's not everybody that should be answering your questions. It's not everybody that your research is made for. It is made for your audience. So these options help you to narrow down your audience. It helps you to know, okay, this person is not my audience, because this person have not used a beauty app before, or this person is not interested in using a beauty app, therefore the person clicks no, therefore submit this person's form because this person is not my audience. So this is what this is what this particular feature helps you to do. So the same way I came here and I said, okay, if you click on no, just this is just how you can narrow down your section. So let me add a question for this section. I'll just add a question here. I can add my description and say, for everyone that says yes, for everyone that says yes. So now I'll start adding my questions. Come here and be like, okay, this person said yes. I'll just find a question to ask. Will you be interested in this app? So just continue. Yes, no. So remember how to go to new section. If you want this particular section to still lead to another section, you can still come here and say add section. So this is just, let me say I'm adding section. So this particular section is for the question. You can navigate to the section based from that particular question. Okay, so just take note of these things. You can be able to add a section to your question, from a particular question you can go to a particular section. So you can add section to your question and you can decide which of the options can lead you to a particular section. Now how you do that is you come here and you go to more options and say go to section based on answer. So what this does for you is so that you can be navigating to sections based on the answers the users give you. That's it. I don't know if it is clear up to this point.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any question?
Not really.
Okay, so now when you are done sending out your form, you can come here to the responses, and there are no responses yet. You can come here and like check for your responses. So let me assume, I don't know, we would have done a practical of how to see the responses, but that will be for some other time later. Now sometimes you might need a bar chart or a pie chart for your questions. What you will do is to click here, link to section. It will help you to create a spreadsheet, like an Excel kind of, where you can analyze your data. It's very important for when you want to analyze the data gotten from your responses. Most people don't know this, but you can use this link to sheet to analyze your data, especially if you're a data analyst. It will be very, very helpful for you. I like using it. I like using this link to sheet for analyzing my responses. So if there was a response, we would have used that. But we'll just go ahead, and these are the settings. You can decide your settings from here. There are so many things, like especially for this, you can be like, okay, collect email. Sometimes you might need the email of anybody that is submitting your responses. So you can just come here and say collect email. Okay, so with this, you've changed the setting of your whatever it is. You've changed your settings. So you can just come here and play around and just read the instructions and the settings here. But also there are things that you can modify here. So now, presentation. For the presentation, some people are not comfortable with, so most times if you are filling a form, you'll be seeing a progress bar, like a green bar down in the section where you know where you are in the design. For some people, it might be discouraging, especially if it's a long form. You might not really want them to see that progress bar. So what you might just do is to turn it on if you want them to see it, or turn it off. So depending on you, you might just decide if you want that green bar to be showing there. Okay, Now you can also change the message that after when the user submits a form, you can decide the message. Maybe you want to say, oh, thank you for submitting this form. We'll get back to you. This is where it is in this presentation setting that you will decide the message that your user will see when they are done filling your form. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, that's where you do. Then these are just the important settings you need here. Restrictions, disable auto. I don't think this is okay. So if you notice here, it said respondents will lose their progress if their browser closes or refreshes. So I think where you will mostly want to use this particular setting is if you are writing something like an exam and you don't want the person to like maybe cheat in the exam. Okay, you don't want them to like, if they leave the browser, if they come back, it will start from the beginning. That kind of thing, that's when you will need this setting. But for a survey form that you are doing for a user research, it's not, I don't think it's necessary. Okay, yeah, this is where you collect your email address by default. This is where you collect. So if you choose that you're going to collect the email, this at this particular default, you will choose if you want to collect once the person like comes and sign in. It will be like what's this thing they call it, it will be a required field, like it will be on red mark and the person should put their email. If you choose this particular setting, it will be on red mark, so the person must put their email. But so it's not really advisable to do something like this. If you want it to like be, you can just create it as a separate question and make it optional. That's the best practice. Or if you decide to do it this way, fine. If you decide that it's a must that the person must put their email, then fine. So yeah, then now this, for this particular one, make questions required by default. What it means is this: if you toggle this and if you switch it on, that means every particular question, the person cannot move ahead without answering all the questions. It will be on red mark. That means when the person wants to submit and no question, a particular question is not answered, you tell the person to go back and answer that question. This is the setting. This is for the default. So what you do in default is to set the email address, to set the question in such a way that you collect the person's, your user's email address by default, and also to change the questions to required. So I think that's it for the settings. Now here is where you can customize your themes. You can customize, choose an image. You can decide to put an image here as the first thing that people will see. You can just come, I can just decide to depending on, for instance, if something like it's agriculture, you are doing a research for agriculture, you can just decide to put something that will align with your audience. Something like this is nice. It's giving a feel of agriculture. So when it might not really matter, but I feel like it's going to be helpful to give them kind of a feel of what they are expecting from the form. You can also choose your background. So you notice that the moment I clicked on this, the background of my research changed. Okay, so you can also decide your tests, the size of your test. So that's what you do in theme. Yeah, I think that is that for that. So now that you've noticed everything has changed, so this is exactly the way the user will see this form when they start filling it out. But the most important thing to know here is how to. So if you notice, okay, because I changed that in my setting, I made it compulsory that they must put their email. So if you've seen it here, so that's the first thing that appears here. it will tell the user this form is collecting email. So the user must put their email. It is not a nice practice because it's not everybody that feels safe to give out their information, their email. So just change the setting. It is best you just change the setting and just put it as a question by yourself. So it's going to be optional. So yeah, I think that's it for the basic things. So remember the basic things you need to know about your form. Being able to create sections, being able to like go to a section based on the answer your user puts into your question. So yes, I think that's where we'll be ending this particular this is where we'll be ending this video, and we'll be going ahead in the next lecture. We are going to be looking at how to create user persona.
Okay.